Hello, this is Tom Toronto with Naked Crypto, CEO of SWP, Solana Blockchain Community. Today we're going to talk about a very basic subject, something you may have learned about in school, and it's Investing 101. Please note this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor, so always do your own research. Never invest in anything without making the decision yourself. And this video is for entertainment purposes only. Let's talk about this subject now, investing. First thing that you're going to want to think about with that subject is what? What are you investing in? Something obviously that you're hoping is going to become worth more. That's the general purpose of investing. Either it's going to be worth more or possibly to protect and to guard your investment against depreciation, but normally you want appreciation, an increase in value. Now there's a lot of different things that are out there that people could invest in. So let's just take a moment and talk about what they could be. Examples of these could be real estate. You might choose to invest in a home. Homes can be rented out. Commercial buildings can be rented out. Vacant land maybe could be rented out, but if you just hold it and then resell it, it's a simple investment. Stocks, of course, people invest in stocks. Sometimes you get dividends and or you hold the stock, it appreciates, and then maybe you sell it down the line when it's worth a lot more. Another example, very basic, is gold and silver. The idea is that it becomes worth more and it is a protection against inflation. That's what a lot of people believe in. And then, of course, the more recent addition to this list is crypto. So let's take a look at some of the options with crypto and or other investing. So first of all is the general. The second of all is going to be the specifics. So once you know the basic field that you're going to invest in, whether it be stocks, real estate, cryptos, silver, gold, you have to finally make the decision as to exactly what. So the specifics, that's the second choice you're going to make. Based on your own research, you're going to need to dig deep to know exactly which of these things you're going to, if it is real estate, exactly which property are you going to make an offer on and how much are you going to offer. That's the type of decision. So real estate, exactly which house, exactly which lot. Stocks, exactly which stock. Gold, silver, which one will it be? Physical, are you going to store it at home? Are you going to store it in an external place? You're going to keep it in a safe deposit box? Or are you going to basically have a receipt of the asset being held by someone else or in custody of someone else? And of course, crypto, if you're going to have it, is it going to be at a centralized exchange or is it going to be something that you have custody of yourself with your own keys? Those are the decisions, examples of decisions you have to make, specifics about what. Then there's the question of custody. Custody is the subject of how you will hold something. So for example, if you own stocks, how will you hold them? There's different investment methods, tax-free investment methods that you can hold. You can have bundles of stocks, groups of stocks, or single stocks, different ways of keeping ownership. Same thing with real estate. You can hold your real estate in different corporations. You can own real estate in different ways. And of course, gold and silver, same thing. Where do you keep it? How are you storing it safely so that it doesn't get stolen or lost? And then, of course, crypto, same thing. Are you going to have your own custody, your own keys? Do you know enough to feel comfortable with that, or do you prefer to hold your asset in a centralized exchange? And then finally, probably the most important is the timing. Now, of course, if you bought an asset that is just a horrible, horrible investment, the choice of which asset you purchased would really be the big mistake. But even the right asset actually can be a negative if it's just purchased at the wrong time. So let's just take a look at some examples. When will you buy your stock? When will you buy or sell real estate? When will you buy or sell the gold or silver? And when will you buy or sell crypto? Again, timing is everything in investing. And the typical answer to timing is everything is actually that the sooner the better. The younger you are, the quicker you make the move and begin to invest in savings and investing, the better, because of compounding interest, compounding valuations. So usually the sooner the better. And I'll take a few examples here. Just take a look at Bitcoin. If you look at the chart for Bitcoin, and this was just pulled up today, it's currently June 5th, 2025 in the evening. That chart basically says anytime you were to buy in the past, the better. If you bought in 2012, 2014, 2016, 2018, 2020, literally any time you purchased would be good because it's been continually up for the most part. We see that it did peak out at about 69,000 in 2021, but even then you would have simply had to wait to get back to almost double that value, as you can see from the chart. Well, the same thing with gold. Essentially, any time you had purchased, if you bought back in 2021, you'd be in at $1,700, and it would currently be worth $3,300, up 100%. So truly, almost any time you were to purchase Bitcoin, or almost any time you were to purchase gold, or same thing with real estate. Here's just an example of home prices since 1990. We've seen a really nice appreciation. The long-term trend line is about 4% appreciation. So essentially, unless you bought a really, really bad house for some reason, almost any time you would have purchased real estate would be a good time. Literally. So again, timing is everything. But I'm going to show you just an example, just one example of where timing is everything in the other direction. Here's just an example of a crypto. And unfortunately for crypto as an asset class, a lot of charts actually look very much like this one. You see a pump in the very beginning and then a massive drop and then another pump back there in September of 2022. So timing would truly be everything on this chart. Now, if somebody believed that this chart was going to make a comeback, they could say actually now is the best time ever because they can get so many lunas for your money. But there is a time on this chart where somebody could have made a lot of money. It would have been in that dip right there before September of 2022, and they could have cashed in with that giant spike. But again, that's a very short time period, so someone would have had to have timed it almost perfectly. So again, timing is everything. Many charts look like an A. Basically, they go up like a mountain and then down. In that example of a chart that looks like an A, truly, if you get in early, you can cash out at the top. If you get on anywhere after the peak, you're basically at a loss and possibly never going to make a comeback on the investment. So timing is everything. Bottom line is very, very often, if you believe in something and you've studied and researched and have conviction, the earlier the better is essentially the basic lesson. But again, you always want to be careful and never overinvest so that you become, exposed to potential things that you haven't even thought about that can happen with projects.